Bonjour.
Bonjour.
And welcome to Foreplay Matters because
It matters.
I'm Madame Beaucoup.
And I'm Madame Wee. And we're here today to talk about sex while you're sick.
And the reason why is because I'm sick.
And I'm sure the last episode you heard on there where, her voice was a little raspy and sexy. And she was saying, she was sick and she's still sick.
I'm still sick. I'm on the mend, but it's taking a little bit longer for the recuperation. But I wanted to talk about this particular topic because while I've been sick, I have had sex. And just wanted to share with you and actually find out from you guys, have you ever had sex while you're sick, and did it make you feel better? Did it make you feel worse? Were you indifferent?
Well, that's what they're trying to say, have sex and you'll feel better.
Right.
I don't know about that.
So there's
I know
research.
I guess there's always controversy. There's always different sides to the story, different points to something. But I know when I'm sick, it's like, unless you're giving me a massage, or taking care of me, it's kind of like, don't touch me.
So that's feel good, not necessarily getting better.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So when I was married previously, I remember when I would get sick and my then husband would tell me, all you need is to have a little sex and you'll feel better. And I thought, this low down, dirty dog just doesn't care about me.
Right. Just wants to have sex.
He just wants to have sex. I did it, but...
Did you feel better?
I kind of did feel better. But, on the inside, I felt worse because I just thought that this was for him. But in actuality, I did feel kind of better.
Now, why do you think that is?
I don't know. Well, research shows.
What does research show?
That there is a protein that is produced when you have an orgasm called an immunoglobulin protein, and it actually helps to fight illness. It's produced in your saliva, and so usually when you catch a cold or you catch a virus like the flu, that's transmitted through respiratory and hyperventilation and water droplets that are transmitted. So that's how that happens, and having the extra protein actually allows you to fight off those illnesses. And so that may be actually a factor in helping out and staving off these illnesses.
Okay, I didn't even know that. Didn't even think about that. So pretty much, to me, it sounds like just a lot of kissing.
Well, kissing, you're going to transmit something kissing, for sure. However, if you have an orgasm, you produce this protein and it actually helps to stave away. So they did a study, there was a research study with students, and they were having sex and they were tracking how much this IgA, this immunoglobulin protein, was, say that 5 times fast, globulin, protein was produced, and it actually showed that it decreased the possibility for them getting ill by 30%.
So I guess I can see that. I mean, because I don't have sex, because I guess the reason why I don't have sex while I'm sick is because I don't want to spread my cold virus or flu virus or any type, because that's pretty much what a cold is a virus. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to spread it, but I guess you kind of have a point there, because I do masturbate a lot while I'm sick. And I do feel a little better where I'm not engaging with a partner, because I'm so concerned about getting that person sick,
right,
that I just, kind of stay to myself, and I do masturbate and I do feel a little better.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because there are also some positions that are suggested while you're sick, and if you must have sex, that you can engage in these particular positions, and it will help reduce the possibility of you transmitting or catching whatever cold or virus that there is. And so one of them is a side-by-side solo. Side-by-side solo is mutual masturbation, or just being in the presence of your partner. They're masturbating, you're masturbating.
Oh, so you're just laying on your back. You're not really like...
You're not engaging.
Engaging,
right,
because, everything's kind of transmitted through eyes, nose, mouth,
Right.
and everything as far as breathing in.
Right.
I mean, I definitely would think doggy style is one of them.
How did you know?
Because my face is completely away from you.
Doggy style. And it's that basically the face is away from the other person. You're on all fours, your head is up, so you don't have to deal with a runny nose. You're on your knees.
I know that's the other thing. It's like when you're sick, you just feel disgusting. You feel disgusted and disgusting because it's like phlegm and mucus,
It is.
and it doesn't even sound good, look good, taste good, and it's like you don't feel pretty.
You don't feel pretty, but sex is not always pretty.
No, it's not always pretty, but you feel sexy and desirable and pretty. But when you're sick, you don't.
No, you don't, but there is a possibility of you feeling better temporarily when you have sex.
Exactly, that's the key.
That's the key.
temporarily.
That's the key.
Yeah, it's not a cure.
But they also say that adrenaline is released when you have an orgasm, and that can actually help you to unclog a stuffy nose. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, I did. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I knew that. I read that, but it's like now I feel. Did you put that into practice because you were sick?
Well, I didn't know it then.
But did you know that you could breathe a little better?
Well, I mean, apparently everything was feeling better while I was having sex.
But I mean, afterwards, after you had the orgasm, or did you not have an orgasm?
No, I have an orgasm.
Like, do tell.
I do. I have multiples, actually. Unfortunately, the time that the temporary time is not compounded by the amount of orgasms that you have, so it does wear off. But
you have an orgasm, you're clear for 1 minute, and then
right.
you're stuffy.
You're stuffy
So
again.
much for that.
But the release of the adrenaline is attached to the fight or flight syndrome, and so basically, in any circumstance, if your adrenaline is pumping, that your body goes into, oh, we need more oxygen because of either we're about to fight or we're about to flee. So,
Right.
So temporarily, it unclogs your nose because you need to take in more oxygen, and so I mean, if that's a byproduct of an orgasm, then I'll take it.
What are some other positions?
Well, so you have spooning. So that's, somebody's in the front, somebody's in the back, you're lying on your side, your faces are away from each other, you're not breathing in each other's, microbes. So that can work. There's also the scissors. So, and you're a tantra coach, so you walk me through this, but basically, both of you have your legs scissored open, so your legs are open. You intertwine them so that you push together at the pelvis.
Right. But again, your face is on opposite ends.
Exactly. And you reach out to hold hands in the middle, helping to pump it. If you could see Madam Wee with the gyrations and the pumping and the humping and the humping and the pumping.
But sometimes the scissor position can be a little uncomfortable, especially if you're like tall, short. If you have short legs, short arm length, if your wingspan is not
I've never been with a little person, but I tried it. The other is a reverse chair, which is someone sits in a chair and the other one sits on top of them. So that person that's sitting in the chair's chest is against the other person's back. You're not facing each other. Again, you're not exchanging, breath.
So the whole point is have sex, but do positions that you're not actually engaging with each other as far as contact for your eyes, your nose, where the virus can be transferred.
Right.
So you're kind of like so at the end of the day, it's like colds and flu, they're not spread through sexual fluids, but they're spread through a cough, a sneeze, and so forth. And then if you breathe it in, or if you sneeze on something, say they sneeze on your pillow, and then you put your head on the pillow,
well, guess
you're
what?
gonna catch
You're gonna
the
catch
cold.
it. And I think that that's a valid point also that you're bringing up, because you're going through all of these motions, which it's a lot of effort to have sex when you're feeling really crappy, to avoid catching or transmitting whatever this thing is, the cold, the virus, the flu, whatever it is. But then you could catch it in other ways. If somebody sneezes on the pillow, somebody sneezes on their hand and, turns the doorknob, picks up the salt shaker. There's so many other ways to cross-contaminate that. Like, how do you actually really know whether any of these things really works, because there's so many other ways that you can cross-contaminate between each other?
I mean, pretty much, this article, it's from Bustle, is saying, but you can definitely get sick from having sex. Of course, because the person who is sick and you're having sex with them, you're in contact with each other. And I mean, again, if they're gonna sneeze, cough, any type of fluids, not saying sexual fluids, because they're saying sexual fluids, you can't get sick from that,
right,
but you're gonna get sick from other fluids.
Right.
So, I mean, and at some point,
you kiss,
yeah, licking all on you, and say you touch it, and then wipe your face,
wipe your eye,
yeah,
rub your nose.
I mean, any type of bodily fluids, saliva, particles in your breath.
Yeah.
So if you're practicing tantra, you're gonna get sick.
You're gonna get it
because it's particles in your breath. Yeah, it's a lot of. So pretty much the main thing is, if you're in a contagious stage, you need to not have sex, right, unless you want to get sick,
or unless the both of you are sick.
Yeah, but hey, or you're out of the contagious phase,
right?
Because a lot of people think, oh, I've been sick for a week, and they think you're still contagious. You're not.
Right.
I think you're only contagious in the first 48 or 72 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, if you must, because if you're one that just have to have sex every day, and you must, then wait till you're out of the contagious phase.
Well, some of this research that we've come across says how sometimes when you are sick, and this is for a select few people, that you do get horny, and that's your body's way of trying to heal you. And so there are people that are compelled to follow suit based on this, compulsion of their body. So if you are, then, you just there's some ways and things that you can do to kind of reduce the risk of transmitting between each other.
This is something else that they said that I definitely am like, because I think you and I had this conversation. I'm like, oh, if you have a fever, and then your pores are open and this, that, and the other. So it says having sex will not reduce a fever. So it sounds like real science. The sweat produced by active sex is supposed to sweat out a fever. And that, of course, is a myth.
Right.
Because you know how when you're sick, and I know a lot of people, because they just have these old remedies. They're from the South. Oh, yeah, these myths and everything. So they think, oh, let me bundle up. Let me put a hat on my head. Let me sleep with a heated blanket because I can sweat out the cold or the fever. You can't.
You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot.
So pretty much you're saying sweat out a fever is a common misconception. Mm-hmm. So aiming to induce sweat by excessive activity or warming the body with too many blankets isn't a way to break a fever cycle.
Right.
The raise in body temperature and a fever in your body's reaction to infection as it attempts to fight off nasties through heightened immune system activity. Sweat for sweat's sake targets the wrong things entirely. So what I was trying to figure out is, because you're sweating, and of course when you're having sex, the other person's sweating, do you think you can transfer the cold virus through your pores?
I don't know. It almost sounds plausible that you could.
Yeah. Because it is bodily fluids.
Right.
But I don't know.
I don't know. There's a lot of different factors that are happening at the same time that I don't know whether or not you could pinpoint that being the culprit of why you got sick or why your lover got sick. But at the end of the day, you can't sweat out a fever anyway. Yeah,
and it's pretty much saying, you need rest. By the time you have a fever, you're already sick. The rest is, the best thing is to allow your immune system to recover.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, I'm not for it. I mean, again, unless you're trying to make me comfortable. Because that's the whole thing about when I'm sick. Right. I just want to be comfortable.
Right.
Because you're uncomfortable. It's like stuffy nose, coughing, congestion. And especially, I mean, I hate that whole cold process. Because all of those are different viruses. You have, it's not one. It's different viruses. So it's a matter of you working all of those different viruses out of your system.
Right.
So
and you need rest to do that.
You need rest to do that. It says, yes, it's safe to masturbate when you're sick. Well, that is all I do.
So you're safe.
Yeah, I am very safe because at the end of the day, I am not trying to get sick. And my whole thing is, I always say, like, when I'm sick and then I recover and then, okay, my lover got sick, then I'd be like, okay, you know what, stay away because I don't want to get sick again. Because all you do is transfer it back and forth to each other, and
so
you never get well.
built up immunity because you were sick. So if you give the other person the sickness, it's kind of like getting a flu shot, right? So are you still going to get sick if you gave them this sickness, or are you going to actually keep giving it back to each other if you're having sex?
Yeah, I think so, because at the end of the day, I'm going to want to kiss.
Yeah.
It's like, I like kissing. Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to be sharing some bodily fluid, some saliva at some point.
Some swapping some spit.
Yeah, swapping some spit. But it says, okay, it says, while you lose nutrients, it says, Go Ask Alice has pointed out that while nutrients lost through masturbation in women is actually very seriously understudied, it's not likely to make much of a difference because the quantity is so incredibly small.
Loss of nutrients.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Make sure you remain hydrated and take supplements that are supposed to aid the immune system, like zinc. Mm-hmm. So that's something. So take a lot of zinc if you feel.
I know. I just ordered some from Amazon.
You did.
Zinc picolinate. Yes, I sure did.
Yeah, and I guess again, you can do certain things if you feel you have to have sex while you're sick. I feel that you could wait, but hey, some people just can't.
Some people cannot. By the way, you mentioned a resource of Go Ask Alice, which I love. This was a resource that I used to utilize when I was attending Columbia University, and it's for students, but it's actually made public. So if anyone has health questions or want to get some answers, you can check out Go Ask Alice and just Google it and you'll find it. So FYI.
Right.
Having sex will not boost your immunity after you're already sick. So we talked about the immunoglobulin.
Sounds so nasty.
That's produced in your saliva when you have an orgasm, and that's actually helpful as far as a proactive measure from getting sick. But apparently this study shows that once you're already sick, that it will not boost your immunity. So
but it says here it does look as if frequent sexual activity can boost your immune system function, reducing the likelihood of later illnesses.
Right.
So
proactive.
It's, right. So it's pretty much
have
like
sex.
Have sex
as much
because
as you can.
Again, sex is exercise.
Right.
So it's
and
like
it's healthy.
Right. So if you want to boost your immune system function, exercise. So if I work out.
Exercise.
Yeah, exactly.
Exercise.
Yeah, apparently it says that in one study, those have found frequent sexual activity had a higher IgA levels,
right.
The antibody found in your saliva and other body fluids that helps us fight off certain types of illnesses.
Right.
That's interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So, it's as far as a proactive measure, have lots of sex, have sexercise, you knock out the exercise and the sex at the same time, and you're also boosting your immunity. Haha. Beating the system, BTS. But studies also show that an orgasm, because it releases, adrenaline and, these antibodies that it can help you feel better temporarily. So it won't immunize you or help you get better quicker, but it can actually help you feel better. So FYI.
That's all it sounds like. It sounds like it's just make me comfortable.
You're back to make me comfortable.
Make me comfortable. When I'm sick, I just want to be comfortable.
Well, you don't want to have sex when you're sick, though, Madam Wade.
Well, I mean, you know, I guess it depends on the phase of the sickness.
Right.
Because when I first get sick and it's all in my head, when I have that congestion, when you can't breathe, it's like, you know,
decongest yourself.
Yeah, temporarily. I'd rather just masturbate, but it's like my whole thing is make me comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess, you know, it can make you feel better temporarily. That's the key. That's the key. So you were having a lot of sex while you were sick. Because it was kind of forced on you, wasn't it?
Well, I wouldn't say forced.
You tell.
But I would say...
Well, consent was there, I will say.
Let me back up because we just kind of jumped right into the middle of it.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm dealing with someone who came to visit for New Year's and decided to give me a New Year's Eve kiss and left me with New Year's Eve flu. And so now we both got it. And I'm taking care of the lover, and the lover is taking care of me, and we are cross-contaminating. And at some point, there was enough stamina to try out this theory that sex would actually make one or the both of us feel better. And the more that they were on the mend, the more sex that they wanted. I was absolutely exhausted.
Right.
I was tired. I felt like shit. But I do remember feeling better when I was married to the ex and when I had sex. And so I said, well, let me give it a shot because I feel like shit. And so maybe this would work. And for me, it did work temporarily. But it was in a sense of, all right, well, let me just go ahead and do this thing, and so that, you know, they can go to sleep and I can finally get some rest. But I did wind up, like, I got a surge of energy. I was able to get up, go cook, and then, you know, then I'd be completely wiped out and go lay back down again. Again, over the course of like 6 days, the lover's stamina was increasing and they like a lot of sex, and so there was a lot of sex being had. It just got to the point where I was just like, okay, I'm ready to just say bye-bye. And
right. I'm ready to get some rest.
I'm ready to lay down.
The key is you need rest.
Lay down.
And or so, give me a massage.
Something.
A hug, a cuddle.
But there was a lot of that also.
Yeah.
He's very affectionate. So I got a lot of that as well. And that also shows that it raises your IgA.
The hugging, the touching.
So it doesn't even have to lead to sex. It's
right.
actually the hugging and the touching and the cuddling that actually raises your immunoglobulin antibodies, and so that does have you to feel better,
right.
even temporarily in the moment. So that was helpful. He's a sweater, sweat-ER, so he sweats a lot. So when you mentioned the sweat and the possible contamination, I was like, maybe it was that. I don't know. But definitely got sick as a dog and had some temporary moments of reprieve after sex. So for me, it actually worked. I'd be very curious to find out if the listeners have had similar experiences. Have you ever had sex while you were sick? Did it make you feel better once you got into it? If you orgasmed, did you have some temporary relief? Like, think about it. Just like give yourself a second to just think back and see whether or not that actually.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back of everything. I'm like, did it unclog my nose? I don't remember. You don't. Because my thing is Vicks is my best friend. So it's like, if that's the case, I don't need to use Vicks anymore.
Well, you can rub Vicks all over his body.
But can you imagine going to the doctor and the doctor saying, I'm prescribing you sex?
That would be fun.
Instead of Tamiflu.
Like, what did you say?
You're like, really, doctor? Okay.
So for me, that was really helpful. I have to say in the beginning it was begrudgingly, but I did find some temporary relief. So, you guys let us know. Hit us up, DM us, leave a comment, and let us know, like, what has your experience been with having sex while you were sick?
Yeah, definitely. So, I guess our takeaway for me is rest. Rest when you're sick, and maybe a cuddle, a hug, masturbate. Masturbation Monday, Masturbation Nation.
Masturbation Tuesday, Masturbation Wednesday.
I'm going to promote that as much as possible.
Well, I will say, so Madame Wee's takeaway is rest, and Madame Boku's takeaway is test. Test it out. See if it actually works. Okay, so try it out, see, and hit us back. Are you sick right now? Yeah, let's do it.
It is flu season.
It's flu season. It's everything season.
Nasty upper respiratory infection going around right now.
It's nasty. I have not completely shaken this thing, but I do feel a lot better, I must say.
So we're giving you some tips, and hopefully you get some relief. Mm-hmm. And if you are sick, feel better.
Have sex and let us know how it went.
Right. DM us on Secret Society Life. You can go to our website at www.secretsociety.life, and you can always email us through that and communicate with us. But also you can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can comment on there as well. We do go and check it, and we've been getting people following us and listening.
I'm so excited. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, but we need you to tune in every Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Foreplay matters.
Because
it matters.
And with that, au revoir.
Au revoir.